final point here. 5D is set on quite an angle. You will see some runouts there. A horse that is turning has a tendency to drift away from the bent side. Does that make sense to you? So if I bend my horse to the left to turn up the hill, I have to make sure that I capture the outside shoulder. Well, now, when we get to the brush, which way is the horse going to tend to run out? Of course. So, you see right away what the designer is doing. You must take care of business all the way up into the air over the brush. Because if you let up, if you do not keep your leg on, the horse can duck out there. The successful riders will take care of that. They will land. You will be surprised at how quickly, one, they turn left, and two, they accelerate. There are 46 efforts here. If you land and hit the snooze button every fence for 1 second, you are nearly a minute late. You're 46 seconds late. Or alternatively, because you land and you're already thinking about what to do next, you're 40 seconds faster than other guy. And that's a big margin at the international level. They all know that. They don't all do that under pressure. And that will be interesting to see tomorrow how people handle that. Okay, question starting over here. What is the distance from C to D here? It is roughly 50 feet. The distance between AB and the narrow brush is 60 feet. So we think that it's a going 4 to a going 3. That's optimal. You will see horses land and trot. And they will pop over the brush and they will do it so easily they will just shoot their head at what horses can do. But the optimal design is to maintain a flowing, galloping attitude. 4 strides, boom, land, 3 strides, boom, zip, they're out of sight. Yes, another question back in the crowd. Very loud, please.
How are you going to angle the C fins in order to set up properly for D? Are you going to aim for the tree, or are you going to...
How are you going to angle the C fins in the water? Is that the question? How are the answer is you are not. Because the narrow jumps don't give you much variation. You see, aiming at a narrow jump, the moment I start to aim at an angle, it closes off the apparent opening to the horse. And so you can be 1 or 2 degrees one way or another, but not very much. I think you'll see most riders will jump AB, they'll get the 4 strides, and then as the horse leaves the ground, then they'll start riding to get back to the brush at D. In my opinion, what do I think the hardest jump is? I don't know. Tell me which horse I'm riding. I'm ducking your question a little bit, but I'm not really, because if I have a horse that is a little tiny bit afraid of water, then this is really hard because it's the first water jump. And you see, if you watch the video now from the World Games, the guy that won the gold medal, that horse is not a wonderful water jumper. Biostapek Sam he doesn't like to get his feet wet. And Michael Young just gave him such a superb ride that unless you were watching carefully, you would miss that. If I have a horse that, excuse me, is a little bit chicken, then jump 21 and jump 23 terrify me because they are huge and they are late in the course. What does late in the course have to do with it? They get tired. You know, every dog's brave in his own backyard, and every horse is a wonderful jumper over fence 1. Before we start to talk about number 6, you can see what I was talking about when I said I want to get someone up close to that so you get a sense of perspective about what these guys jump over tomorrow. Questions here. Are there any horses on form? Yes, here in America. In England, they had a very funny season. And so those horses did not run as much as they usually do. So it's a very difficult year for a prognosticator such as myself because there was no foreign form, and you just had to look at the riders to see what you thought was going to happen. The American horses, certainly Arthur, is on form. He's already won a three-star international event earlier this year. He went well at the Fork 3 weeks ago. So that horse is on form. But I think this is one of the most open years that I have seen at Rolex for a long time. You know, it's anybody's event. Anybody that can be well placed in dressage and then keep it together until Sunday night, they'll be in there. Yes, sir.
What about the soft ground? What does that do?
What about the soft ground? Very fatiguing. Very fatiguing on a horse. They have to work harder to take the same stride.
They don't adjust the time?
They will be more likely to adjust the course. And if they do that, they have several ways of doing that. They can leave out a loop. They can leave out some jumps that they think that are acceptable on good conditions, but are too difficult in muddy conditions. So the grand jury, the judges here, are allowed a great deal of flexibility about that, and they will meet with the technique. They will have, because they've already told us, they have Plan A, they have Plan B, they have Plan C, but they're not prepared to tell us which one of those they're going to use. So for now, the coaches, such as myself and the riders, we walk it as if they're going 4 miles over 28 obstacles, and we're going to do the whole thing, and we're ready to do the whole thing. If they make any adjustments, we will adjust. Yes, ma'am, right next there.
What does it take to get here? What are the requirements to
The requirements are that you must have completed 2 3-stars, CCI 3-stars. I think you must have completed 1 CIC 3-star as well, with a certain percentage of the dressage score, fewer than XX penalties on the cross country, and I think 3 knockdowns or less in the stadium. I might be wrong about the stadium. I'm not sure, because every time I learn them, they change them. So I've given up on that a little bit. But there are very specific markers that you must achieve before you are 4-star qualified. And then you only keep that qualification for 18 months. If you run in a 4-star and you complete it, then you've set the clock for 18 months again, no matter what happens. If you get around and you complete, fine. You can go to the next one. And then that period is for 18 months. Yes, ma'am.
What is the difference between CIC and CCI?
What is the difference between CIC and CCI? Basically, length of the course and the difficulty of the dressage test. Usually they will use a slightly easier dressage test. It's at this level, but it's a little bit more flowing. This is a very difficult test that you saw today. And then the length of the course will be shorter at a CIC than at a CCI. If you read the recent interview with William Fox Pitt, he says that they should do away with them. It's a mess. And the nomenclature in this sport is already complicated.